All right, so we're here with Xavier today. I asked her to bring us a little bit on science news. We don't talk about science much on the show.
We don't.
But it is we are trying to move into more exploratory fields in space. Is that a good way to say that, to state that?
Yeah.
And one thing that they're very much wanting to do is go to Mars and see if we can actually put humans on Mars.
Yeah.
There are a lot of steps that we are trying to take as the scientific community in order to facilitate getting humans to Mars, because it is much harder than just getting in a rocket and shooting that direction.
Way more complicated, yeah.
So one of those steps apparently is this idea of possibly establishing a base on the moon. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So NASA's launching they've already started to launch an Artemis program, and it's a 4-phase plan in which they're going to build a village on the moon to create, like, not necessarily permanent residence of astronauts on the moon, but a permanent base to simulate what life would be like in space, so we can start taking steps to getting to Mars. They've already launched phase 1, which was sending the space launch. It's a new specialized rocket they've built to carry the crew, the cargo they need, and the Orion spacecraft that they're planning on using to
land on the moon.
Yeah.
So the rockets that we've been using since the Apollo program back in the 60s, the rockets of today don't have enough juice to even get to the moon. So they've had to design the Artemis, which is a massive rocket that will escape Earth's orbit, correct? And then also have enough fuel to get to the moon and then come back home.
Yes.
Okay. So we've got to that point now.
Yeah, they haven't landed it on the moon yet, but they launched the Space Launch System and the Orion spacecraft into the lunar orbit in 2022. So the second phase of the plan is going to happen in 2026, and they're going to launch both spacecrafts, but with crew on board. They're going to have 4 people on board, and they're going to still be in the lunar orbit. They're not going to land on the moon yet. Phase 3 is supposed to happen around mid-2027, and then that's whenever they're going to first land on the moon.
We've done it before, but we've done it with very, very old technology. I'm assuming that everything has been redesigned, and we are trying to be very,
everything.
very careful, because we certainly don't want to make a boo-boo or an accident in space, because that would be catastrophic.
It would be.
So we're getting. So you're saying it's a long process, but we are trying to get to a point to where we can just get back down to the moon, and then they will, I'm assuming, start to launch plans for establishing some sort of base on the moon.
Yes. It's supposed to be by the early 2030s. Once they in 2027, once we get people on ground near, like, the south polar region of the moon, that's also where the base is supposed to be. So once we get that to happen, it's on from there.
What is the idea of the base on the moon? Are they saying that it's easier to launch to Mars from the moon? Is that the whole idea?
I believe so, and I think it's just also to explore, even though the moon and Mars have, like, very different climates, and they're just very different, it's also to just explore the general idea of having humans living for a sustained period in space before we try and send anyone all the way to Mars.
So it's safer to do that, you're saying, closer to Earth, because if there was a major problem, they could get them back to Earth within 5 or 6 days versus, 2 years or something to get to Mars?
So, yeah. And we're also trying to get that base established because I believe China is also trying to launch. And
I think Russia was also wanting to put a base on the moon. And I saw some interesting articles talking about a possible nuclear reactor on the moon, which would be interesting because theoretically, nuclear is one of the cleanest forms of energy, and I suppose you would have unlimited amounts of energy on the moon at that base if there was a nuclear reactor there.
Yeah, they were also exploring the possibility of making solar powered systems on the moon. That's
exactly.
Work,
and the south, I feel like the south portion of the moon, it doesn't get much sun.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the ones that's in the shade most of the time.
Yeah.
It only gets like maybe an hour or two of sun. Interesting. And then I was also told by someone, and I don't remember who it was, that the whole idea for launching to Mars from the moon was because it's so much fuel burned getting out of the Earth's orbit that there wouldn't be enough fuel on the rocket, they don't think, to get from Earth to Mars. So they're thinking we'll hop to the moon and refuel and then launch from the moon to Mars. There's a whole lot that can go wrong with that.
Yeah. I don't know how people do it. I wouldn't want to go to the moon in the first place.
Terrifying.
Especially not to Mars.
It would be terrifying. Okay, so we're going to keep an eye on all of this. You will be long since gone from high school when we're probably updating this story. But if you don't mind keeping an eye on all of this, and as we get more updates, bring it to us and let us know.
I will.
All right.